from a galaxy far, far away. No, just kidding. From virtual Wrigley Field in virtual Chicago, Illinois, it's another MLB 9 innings 20 matchup. Tonight it's going to be the New York Mets taking on the Chicago Cubs in the second game of a 3-game series. The Cubs took the first game of the series last night by a deciding 3-0 score. All the offense happened in the first 4 innings of the game. Anthony Rizzo knocking in a run, Aaron Nola knocking in a run, and Dexter Fowler knocking in a run. Rizzo's was the only extra base RBI of the 3, but Rizzo's also came to give the Cubs that decisive run per se, as his was the first, and of course they followed it up with 2 more to take the W. With the Cubs win yesterday, now we'll take a look at the NL Central standings pictured here on the screen off to your left if you're following along this way. The Cincinnati Reds at 47-26 leading the division. The Cubs followed up at 42-31, and all things considered, we've said it a dozen times, after starting 3-13, it's a beauty to be at second in the division here almost halfway through the season. They're 5 games back of the Reds, and St. Louis comes in after a loss yesterday at 39-33. They dropped 3 in a row and now are 7.5 back of the first place Cincinnati Reds and 2.5 back of second place Chicago. The Milwaukee Brewers a W yesterday, now at 37-35, and the Pittsburgh Pirates trying to get back to 500. They're in an uphill battle here as they start tonight at 35-37. Now to take a look at the NL East, where the New York Mets currently sit ranked average at 3rd out of the 5 teams. The Nationals at the top, 38-34. Atlanta a game and a half above these New York Mets, now at 36-37. New York 4 games under 500, 34-38. And Miami right there along with them, and the Philadelphia Phillies at the bottom at 25-46. So definitely things can't get any worse for the Chicago squad, but all things considered, it'd be nice to get at least one more W here out in New York, because coming up this weekend, 3 games at home against the Boston Red Sox, and then next week 3 games in Cincinnati. And nothing's harder than a matchup with Cincinnati right now, despite the Cubs taking 5 of those 6 games. Cincy, of course, the loss yesterday, as I might have mentioned already, but really Cincinnati is the hottest team in the league right now. If you take a look at these standings, you look at Arizona 43-30, then you take a look, only 38-34 leading the National League East. Some of these teams in the American League, of course, we might see later in the year, but Boston 37-37, so Chicago might have a tough time there. But the Yankees running away with the AL East at 49-24. The Twins coming in pretty sharp at 51-23, but you got to look to the Houston Astros at 42-30. But now we'll get right into it. Our starting pitcher matchup for tonight going to be Marcus Stroman against Justin Verlander. Marcus Stroman, I've always liked his control since coming over from the Toronto Blue Jays, but even as a young stud in Toronto, Marcus Stroman has always been that solid arm at the top end of the rotation, and he's going to have to continue that stride tonight against Justin Verlander, the Cubs ace, who has been also diligent getting outs on ground balls this year, and the Mets love to hack at the first pitch, so it could be a quick and easy night for Justin Verlander. Aaron Nola going 7 last night, as the Mets only hit 5 balls off of him, and he got the first pitch strike in every at-bat he faced except one against Robinson Cano, which just so happened to be the only extra base hit Aaron Nola gave up in yesterday's ballgame. And once again, sorry for not being able to bring you yesterday's ballgame. Had Alexander Babby, my good buddy, on as my color commentator. We were having such a good conversation, we forgot to hit the record button here on Etch Recorder. But now we'll get right into the New York Mets starting lineup here tonight, coming in 34-38, as I said. The leading off going to be Jeff McNeil at third. Michael Conforto is in right. Ahmed Rosario is at short. Pete Alonso going to clean up at first. J.D. Davis in left. Wilson Ramos behind the plate. Robinson Cano hit 7th at second. And Jake Marisnick, the center fielder, going to hit 8th. And as we said, on the mound, Marcus Stroman and the Chicago Cubs on the defensive side of the ball, coming in 42-31. Left to right in the outfield, it's going to be Ryan Braun, Dexter Fowler, Cody Bellinger. And on the infield, around the horn from third to first, going to be Manny Machado. Javier Baez at second is Jonathan Schoop. First baseman Anthony Rizzo. And as we said, Justin Verlander on the hill at 8-4. ERA at 2. 225. He's got a walk to strikeout ratio of 2-63. Best earned run average in the National League at 225. And Jeff McNeil steps in the box here. We're ready to go between the Mets and the Cubs. McNeil with the kick in the fire and a four-seamer for a strike. Gets us started. Justin Verlander with solid numbers all around this year. We'll get into that in a minute here as one's lined right at the head of Anthony Rizzo. He's able to bring it down, and now there's one New York Met out in this ball game. Justin Verlander, 4th ranked in wins so far in the campaign today. He's got the highest ranked WHIP in the entire league, and he ranked 5th in the National League at 88 1/3 innings pitched here. First pitch into Conforto, and Conforto, first pitch swinging, bounces one out towards left field. Coming in on it going to be Ryan Braun, but heading in head first, to second is going to be Michael Conforto, and the Mets have a base runner here with one down in the top of the first in a 0-0 score ball game. First pitch into Verlander, and a foul tip away here from Ahmed Rosario to get the AB started. Now Verlander, a bouncing one here. Conforto going to stay put at second. Rizzo flips over to Verlander, and that's a 3-1 put away for the second out if you're scoring at home. Just getting going here from virtual Wrigley Field. It's the New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs, a 0-0 score. Michael Conforto knocking a double off Justin Verlander with one down, and he's still at second here as Pete Alonso takes the first pitch strike up and tight. 0-1 pitch in here from Verlander. Belt high, and it's belted out towards center field. Dexter Fowler gets to it and gets it in quickly, and Conforto holds up at third. But the Mets have guys at the corners now with 2 outs for J.D. Davis. One thing we talked about last night that we probably didn't talk about all too much, the Mets have 7 hitters in their order hovering about a 300 mark. 0-1 pitch in here, and Davis going to ship this one away foul. 0-2 now, the count on J.D. Davis at the plate here. The Mets in their gray jerseys, blue and orange trim in Chicago, and the white home stripe. Pinstripes is J.D. Davis, a swing and a miss right down the middle, and the Mets strand a pair of 2 hits and no runs, and Chicago going to take their first hatch at the plate here in the bottom of the first inning. Marcus Stroman, a 420 earned run average. He's got a 3-3 mark, 85 2/3 innings pitched, 4-65 walk to strikeout ratio, and now the Chicago Cubs starting lineup. Leading off at center field going to be Dexter Fowler. Buster Posey does the catching. Javier Baez hits third at short. Cody Bellinger's in right. Ryan Braun, the left fielder, down there at 5th in the order again tonight. Jonathan Stroman second. Manny Machado at 7th at short. Anthony Rizzo's the 8-hole hitter at first, and Justin Verlander, the pitcher, going to hit 9th. 4 home runs, 19 RBIs at .371 batting average for Dexter Fowler as we get going for the Cubs' first offensive hats of the day. Dexter Fowler going to send the first pitch out towards right field, and it bounces in front of Michael Conforto, and the Cubs have a leadoff base runner for the 4th straight game. Coming into this one, the Chicago Cubs now on a 12-game winning streak. They've taken 19 of their last 20, and they're surely the hottest team, and Buster Posey, the hottest hitter on the team at the dish here. He comes around on a cutter a bit low here, and he trails 0-1, and now Stroman going down low, belt high, runner advances to second, but the flip 5-3, the put away for the first out. But Buster Posey always does his job advancing the runner if that's what he gets tasked of doing, and in that case, that was exactly it, as now Javier Baez getting his 2nd straight start for just the 3rd time this year did Jen. He comes around on a 2-seam fastball, and he trails 0-1 with Fowler standing at second. A 0-0 tie here as Baez ships one away foul into the seats down the first baseline. 0-2 pitch here from Stroman, and Baez just managing to send this one away foul. Now the 0-2 tapper towards third. Jeff McNeil going to run on it and pick it up and field it over to his buddy Pete Alonso for the out. McNeil and Alonso came up through the minors together. They debuted in the exact same game for these New York Mets as now Cody Bellinger steps up. 302 average, 8 home runs, 31 RBIs. He possesses some speed on the base pass with more than a dozen stolen bases here as he fouls the first pitch he sees away. Fowler standing at second here, and Bellinger now the 0-1 pitch popped up towards short. Jeff McNeil going to take it himself, however, the third baseman, and the Cubs leave a man on here. 2 hits for the Mets in the first and 1 for Chicago. The Mets strand a pair, and Chicago leaves 1 on base, sending us to the second for Wilson Ramos, Robinson Cano, and Jake Marisnick. Wilson Ramos, solid numbers you see there. Only 2 stolen bases, however, he's a bit slower on the pass. 44 runs scored, and a number that really sits out, 48 RBIs in that case. He's had 15 home runs, and he hit 3 against Chicago last year. So Verlander going to pitch him also cautiously here tonight, just as Nola did last night. He comes around on a 4-seam fastball up and in, and now he trails nothing in too quickly. Verlander working from the stretch here, kicks in and fires, and Ramos just managing to ship this one up into the netting. Foul. 0-2 pitch here, yet again the repeat, and Ramos gets a hold of this one out towards right. It falls in front of a racing Cody Bellinger, and the Mets have a leadoff base runner here to start the second for now, Robinson Cano. Cano started last night 292, and now he's up to 302 with a 4-for-4 night. 4 of the Mets' 8 hits last night came from this guy, this man, Robinson Cano. Cano in the box here, leadoff base runner standing at first, nothing tie, top of the second. Mets and Cubs, if you're just tuning in to join us, bouncer right up the middle. Baez going to flip the scope, the turn 360 style, right to Rizzo, and the Cubs flip the 6-4-3 double play. Now Jake Marisnick too quickly down here in the inning. Verlander out an inning and 2/3 worked through here. 3 hits already for the New York Mets, so Verlander not looking his most sharp self, but the Cubs defense coming in absolutely clutch here yet again as the 0-1 right to Rizzo, the bouncer. He flips to Verlander, who covers the bag himself, and the Mets leave the bases empty here after the double play turned in the field 6-4-3 by Chicago, and Ryan Braun, Jonathan Schoop, and Manny Machado going to be tasked to get the Cubs offense rolling in the bottom of the second. 7-game hitting streak for Ryan Braun. 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. He's only got 1 stolen base, but Ryan Braun, an absolutely stellar runner of the bases here as he hacks around here to slider, and he quickly trails in the count. Stroman working from the middle of the rubber here, and a foul away here from Ryan Braun. He's quickly down, and now the deuce pitch in here from Stroman, and another foul tip away here from Braun. 0-2. Stroman, the kickback and the fire in, and Braun suddenly managing to hang in there. Already 4 pitches, trailing nothing in 2 here. Stroman right down the middle, a bouncer towards third. Just McNeil able to pick it up and get it over to Alonso in time for the opening out of the frame. Jonathan Schoop, he's on a 5-game hitting streak. A lot of hot hitters in this Cubs order. One of the main reasons why they've been so good these last few weeks. They've averaged 8.1 runs per game over their last 12. Is now Schoop, 330 in the box here to face Marcus Stroman. A daunting task is now Robinson Cano sliding on his knees to pick one up, and he gets it over to Alonso in time. A knife of a throw. Manny Machado's turn up. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Manny Machado, not the everyday third base guy for the Chicago Cubs squad, but he's tasked with being in there today, and he's able to find a hit here. Bouncing in a foul territory down in left, and he turns from first, heads for second, and the Cubs have a base runner on here with 2 outs. Now Anthony Rizzo, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, hitting 389. He's hitting back-to-back games, including 2 hits last night, and now he swings it to first pitch. Alonso, the flip to Stroman, and that's a 3-1 put away if you got your scorebook and pen out at home to end the frame. 3 hits for the Mets, 2 for Chicago, and we got a 0-0 score as we head to the third. Marcus Stroman leads it off here in the third for these New York Mets, who have yet to score a run in this series, and they haven't scored since the 5th inning against the Washington Nationals on Sunday. So their scoreless inning streak currently standing at 15, and they're looking to break that skid here. Right down the middle here, another 4-seam fastball. Verlander pounding the zone here early, and now he fires in yet another pitch, and he's able to pick up the second strikeout of the night, as now it's Jeff McNeil's turn. 0-for-1 with a fly out goes McNeil. Verlander sending this Mets order down quickly here as Verlander pounds in another fastball for a strike. Nothing in 1. Verlander kicks back, and McNeil wasting no time with another foul ball here. Posey calling a heck of a game behind the plate, just as he always does, as the 0-2 right to Schoop, and he's able to knife it in time to Rizzo for the second out. Now Michael Conforto, the right fielder. 11 stolen bases this season. His on-base percentage at .377, so he's not afraid to take a walk. Very patient hitter at the plate here as he's going to take a slider. Michael Conforto, I don't think I've ever seen him swing at the first pitch, at least playing our Chicago Cubs squad anyway, as the slider's in there for the second. second strike. 0-2 with 2 down, and now he gets him swinging at a slider for the third strikeout of the night. We head to the bottom of the third inning here. The Mets holding on with 3 hits, and Chicago still lagging at 2, a 0-0 tie, and it's 9-1-2 up for Chicago. Justin Verlander to lead it off. 2 runs scored this season. Verlander, a decent guy in the box with the bat. He's got some height and he's got some bat speed. He was a home run hitter in high school, but hung up the bat in college here. As a changeup pounds the zone here. Verlander trailing now 0-2. The kick right in here, and Verlander going to foul it away. He's hitting 200, so 1 for every 5 goes Justin Verlander. 35 at bats as now this one bounced towards short. Rosario back in the hole, able to get his knife of an arm over there to Alonso for the out. As now it's Dexter Fowler's turn up here. Fowler 1 for 1 with a single. He led off the game with a single out towards right. He's hitting 375 here as he foul tips one away. Once again, sorry about any pop-ups on my phone screen here, trying to finagle everything with my laptop being handed in for the summer. As now Fowler comes around for the strikeout here, and it's Buster Posey's turn. 377 average he goes, ranking first in the National League. His slugging percentage is third at 636. His on-base percentage a bit low, all things considered, however, as he comes around on a change downstairs and outside here. 0-1. Stroman kicks and fires a 4-seamer. Posey came around, and now it's a 0-2 pitch here. 2 outs, 0-0 tie between the Mets and the Cubs, and now Posey out towards right field, able to find it as Conforto, and it's going to hold up. A 0-0 score through 3 innings. It's Rosario, Alonso, and Davis for the Mets in the 4th. Rosario 0-1 with a grounder. Verlander sent down 5 in a row, and now the Mets scoreless inning streak sitting at 16 here. His Verlander drops in a first pitch curveball here. 0-1, and Verlander kicks in, and Rosario managing to finagle this one foul down the line here. 0-2, and right down the middle goes Justin Verlander. Rosario connects with it, and Ryan Braun can't get to it in time. The Mets have a leadoff base runner to start the 4th. Pete Alonso 1 for 1 with a single. We talked about his power last night, but it's been a bit lacking after 5 home runs through the month of April. Pete Alonso only 4 home runs this last month and a half, so Pete Alonso slumping a bit after his rookie campaign that saw him hit the single-season Mets franchise rookie home run record, if I said that right. 0-1 right down the middle here. Alonso came around and he trails 0-2, and Verlander drops one in right down the middle here yet again. Back-to-back hits for the New York Knicks. And now runners at the corners with nobody out for J.D. Davis. 0 for 1 with a strikeout, a 308 average. Rosario with speed at third. Pete Alonso a bit slower standing at first, but a big out here, and J.D. Davis if Verlander can find it. Pitch dropped in there for a slider, and now leading 0-1. Verlander kicks back. J.D. Davis, a chopper up the middle here. The turn from short to second, back to first here. 4-6-3 to double play. It goes in, and Rosario held up at third. So now with 2 outs, it's Wilson Ramos, and the Cubs have a chance to get out of the inning. Ramos stepping in the box here, and he's going to pop up the first pitch he sees. That's why you don't swing at the first pitch. And Buster Posey able to bring it down with the pop in his glove. The Mets, absolute stellar of a threat there, first and third with nobody out, and they're not able to pull in a run. They've got 5 hits. Chicago's only got 2, and we head to the bottom of the 4th. Still knotted up at 0-0. Javier Baez leads it off for the Chicago Cubs here in the bottom of the 4th against Marcus Stroman. Stroman with the first pitch here. Baez comes around on it. Back in the hole is Rosario. He took his sweet time, but still managed to get it across the diamond to Alonso in time. And there's 1 out now for Cody Bellinger, who flew out his first time up. He's hitting 300 here in 2020. A big upgrade considering he was only about 280 last season. Cody Bellinger looking for his first full and complete season, both in terms of home run, RBI, on-base slugging percentage, and batting average, if that's not too many numbers. The 0-2 in here, and Bellinger going to bounce it out towards left field. Takes a 2-hop right in front of Conforto, and Cody Bellinger on here. Cubs got a base runner. Now Ryan Braun 0 for 1 with a grounder. He's on a 7-game hitting streak. Not looking to have that snapped here at the hands of Marcus Stroman tonight. Braun not being also patient. He fouls the first one he sees away. Bellinger stands at first. 0-0 tie, bottom of the fourth. Just joining us here from virtual Wrigley Field. Both teams absolutely a stellar gem on the hill. Both sides, Marcus Stroman and Justin Verlander, came around on the pitch. Indeed, Ryan Braun, and he struck out here as now it's Jonathan Schoop's turn. Marcus Stroman, 403 earned run average. He's retired plenty of Cubs hitters here tonight. Only 3 hits. It is now Schoop. Bounces right towards second. Cano looked to the second base bid, who, of course, in this case was Rosario, but went to first instead, and that ends the frame. Robinson Cano grounded up into a double play his first time up. In the follow him is going to be Jake Marisnick and Marcus Stroman in fifth. Justin Verlander, 36 pitches through 4 innings, as now Robinson Cano digs in here. First pitch, dropping a curveball, deposited in there at 75, says our radar gun. Nothing in 1 here, and Verlander right back, a liner right to Javier Baez, the shortstop. Very agile and very fragile, if you want to stick it that way. Baez has that label, but he does have the label of recording the first out, a liner to sit. So you can put L6 on your scorecard or scorebook at home. Marisnick now steps up to take his second hack of the night here. Marisnick, a 4-seamer, he takes for a strike here. Verlander absolutely jumping out to a lead on every sitter he sees. Is now the 0-1 bat towards left field. Retreating back onto the track is Ryan Braun, and he's able to find it. Is now Stroman. Struck out his first time up. Verlander 3 Ks on the night. Is Stroman set to go here? Stroman, the righty batter, facing the righty pitcher here, and he's going to take a slider in for a strike. Justin Verlander's arm slot, not something we talk about a lot. It's a funky delivery. If you watch him, watch this, how he pulls it out of his glove, steps back, and his arm kind of tilts a bit more to the right than what you'd normally see. But Verlander never having to have Tommy John surgery so far in his elusive career. So maybe it's something here as he's able to pick up his 4th K and the second on Stroman here tonight. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. We're halfway home in this one. New York 5 hits and Chicago hanging on at 3. 7, 8, and 9 when we come back. Manny Machado, a .333 batting average. We've talked all so much about his tenure with the Los Angeles Dodgers, but not so much with the Orioles, and we'll get into that as next time up as he swings at the first pitch. Stroman right over to Alonso, 1-3 for the opening out of the bottom half of inning number 5, if that's not too much to say. 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. Rizzo on a 2-game hitting streak, and he's looking to keep that rolling here tonight. As we said, he had an RBI in the 3rd inning last night in the Cubs 3-0 win over New York. New York desperately needing a win tonight to hang on in the standing, now 2.5 back of Atlanta and 5 back of the Nationals. 4-3 put away here to snag him out, as now it's Justin Verlander's turn up. 0 for 1 with a grounder on the night. Verlander looking for his first hit in 3 games here. His 3 starts, of course, as now he swings at the first pitch. Alonso right to Stroman, 3-1 for the out, and the Cubs go down quickly and quietly. Top of the order going to be up for the New York Mets. It's the 0 for 2. Jeff McNeil to lead it off, followed by Conforto and Ahmed Rosario. 8 wins here in 2020 for Justin Verlander. Now 8 for Aaron Nola. Verlander looking to pick up number 9 here tonight. First pitch, hack and a miss from Jeff McNeil. And now Verlander pounds one in there. Left fielder coming in, shortstop going back, and it's Baez who tracks it as he waves off Ryan Braun. And there's 1 down. Now Michael Conforto. Verlander sent down 6 in a row now, and now the Mets scoreless inning streak out to 17 here. Bouncer towards third, and it's Machado over towards Rizzo. Pardon me, it's a bit hot and with the breeze blowing outside here today. Plus we got a little distraction as some construction work going on across the street. But now it's Ahmed Rosario's turn. 2 down here in the top of the 6th. The 0-0 tie. The Mets and the Cubs from virtual Wrigley Field here in MLB 9 innings 20. Colby Smith bringing you all the action as Rosario comes around on a 4-seamer and he trails 0-2. Verlander wearing the blue cap here with the brim tilted a bit to the right as now the 0-2 bounce towards second, and able to get it in time as Schoop to first, and Rizzo pulls it down for the out. The Mets go down quietly yet again, and it's the leadoff guys for the Cubs. 1, 2, 3, Fowler, Posey, Baez in the bottom of the sixth when we return. Mets and the Chicago Cubs from virtual Wrigley Field. A 0-0 tie. Fowler thought we were going to have a shallow infield hit here, but Jeff McNeil able to lay out in time and get it over to Alonso just in time to get Fowler here, as now it's Buster Posey's turn. One out here, and as we said, a 0-0 tie. The wind blowing out towards deep center field, so if somebody can get a hold of a ball here, we should see a home run. But nothing like that has been happening tonight. Both pitchers hanging in there. 5 hits for the Mets, 3 for Chicago. Thought we were going to have number 4 both times around here for Fowler and Posey, but it's a 3-1 put away, which gets in Posey, and now it's Baez who's grounded out both times up respectively. He's 0 for 2. And we got a zip tie on our board, and now Baez managing to tip one away foul. All the offense came last night in the first 4 innings. Looks like tonight it's going to come in the latter 3. Is Cano able to find Alonso's glove just in time in the pocket, and that ends the frame. Pete Alonso's 2 for 2 on the night, and J.D. Davis and Wilson Ramos both 0 for 2, and the Mets look to get their offense rolling in the top of the 7th. We get going here. Verlander, 50 pitches through 6 innings. We're not going to keep you waiting any longer here, as the Cubs look like they're going to retire for Alonso for the first time tonight. And yes, they can. Javier Baez to Anthony Rizzo, and that finishes him off. He's now 2 for 3. Singled both of his first 2 times up, and now it's J.D. Davis, who, as we said, 0 for 2. The Mets and the Cubs playing to a 0-0 tie here. Still got the finale tomorrow. We'll post that on my YouTube page sometime later in the day, probably early in the evening, as now J.D. Davis comes around on 1 here. 0-2. Justin Verlander cocks back and fires in, and Davis just managing to send one away. Foul here yet again. It's almost like the Freight Express when you foul one away, but more like it's the Freight Express and maybe even the Success. Not trying to rhyme. Maybe I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Ha, ha, ha. But Jonathan Schoop able to bring it down there on a liner to second base. And now there's 2 quickly away here for Ramos. Verlander just 5 pitches to send the first 2 down here. And let's see if it sits. Coming in, Bellinger out in right field. He's not able to get there in time. And the Mets have a base runner with 2 outs in an inning for the 3rd time tonight. Robinson Cano 0 for 2, a double play and a fly out here, and now pounding a 4-seamer right down the middle is Verlander for a strike. 0-1, and he drops one downstairs and in the zone here to Curve, and now 0-2. Verlander goes right with a 4-seamer back down to the middle. Schoop flips to Baez at second, and holding on, fielder's choice, reaching at first, of course, is our man Robinson Cano. But Cody Bellinger, Ryan Braun, and Jonathan Schoop in the bottom of the 7th when we come back at 7th inning stretch time. But nobody is singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" just like Alexander Babby could do it for you last night. But 4, 5, 6, 0-0 time from virtual Wrigley Field. Stick around right here with us. Cody Bellinger, the right fielder, in the box here to lead it off. Stroman just 45 pitches through the first pitch here. Bellinger going to take a first pitch high and away here, a slider in at 76. 1-0 count here to Bellinger, and now a 2-seamer gets him belt high for a strike, and it's 1-1. Stroman kicks back and fires in, and now Bellinger going to send one out towards right field. The Cubs have their first hit in 3 innings as Bellinger's got a leadoff single. Now Ryan Braun 0 for 2 with grounder and a strikeout. Not looking to keep that pace up here. Looking to break this one open and get the Cubs some offense. Throw over from Stroman to first to Pete Alonso, but Bellinger dives back safely in time. Now Stroman works in here. Gets Braun chasing it, a 2-seamer. He's down 0-1 now. Stroman a pounder right down the middle. Braun through the left side of the infield. Ahmed Rosario gets there in time. The flip to second, and he's safe. And the throw back to first, and Braun's safe at first. The Cubs have runners at first and second now with still nobody out, and now it's Schoop's turn. Bellinger stands at second, Braun at first. Both guys, 2 of the speediest base runners on this team as Schoop cuts to the slider. Cubs could break this one wide open here as now the 0-1 popped up out in the shallow center field. Able to find it is indeed Jake Marisnick tagging up Bellinger. A blunder of a move sending him to third, and now there's 2 quickly out just like that, and it's Machado's turn to take his hack here. 1 for 2, and Braun still standing at first. The Cubs had a prime offensive opportunity, and just like that, they had it swallowed away, and that ends the frame here. A fly out to Jake Marisnick in center, and the Cubs strand one on base here. 6 hits now for New York, and 5 for the Chicago Cubs, pardon me. We play to the 8th inning, and it's still a 0-0 score. The Mets now at a scoreless inning streak of 19. Not looking to keep that continuing. Here, this frame, Jake Marisnick going to swing at the first pitch, and it's a hack like that will continue on there. But Marcus Stroman now pulled out of the ballgame. Donovan Smith pinch hitting for the second straight night in the 8th inning. Gotta say, it was an all-around solid performance last night from Noah Syndergaard, managing to finish 7 despite being knocked around for 3 runs and more than a dozen hits by Chicago. He hung in there, kept his pitch count low, and now the 0-2 win from Verlander, and Dom Smith smacked it out to Ray. Hit a single last night, and he repeats the same here tonight. And the Mets have a guy on with just 1 out here in the 8th. Now Jeff McNeil 0 for 3. He's only got 1 hit on the series. It was a single in the 3rd inning last night here as Verlander pounds one right down the middle. 0-1, and a bouncer towards second. Javier Baez to Jonathan Schoop, and they managed to get the force out here. Thought we were going to have a throw over to first there, but didn't think they could possibly get McNeil in time, so he reaches on a fielder's choice, and now it's Conforto, the Mets right fielder's turn. Conforto, a bouncer towards third. Manny Machado, the flip to second. They're going for that jinx of an out every time. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but they got it. And now it's the 3-6 Dylan Betances to come in for these New York Mets in the bottom of the 8th. Anthony Rizzo, the pitcher spot up for Chicago, and Dexter Fowler as the Cubs still look for their first run of the game as we remain in a 0-0 tie. 0-0 our score, and Dylan Betances right down the middle. Anthony Rizzo sending the first pitch he sees out towards left in front of J.D. Davis, and the Cubs have a leadoff base runner for the second straight frame. Now Justin Verlander 0 for 2 with a pair of grounders, going to be yanked out of the ball game here in hopes of getting the Cubs some offense. Coming in going to be Troy Tulowitzki. Pinch hitted last night and struck out. Hopefully he can change that tonight. Rizzo standing at first, and now Betances right down the middle. Tulowitzki out towards right field. It falls in front of Conforto, and the Cubs have back-to-back guys on here to start the 8th. Now Dexter Fowler, he singles his first time up, then struck out, and then, of course, he grounded out. He's 1 for 3, respectively. Rizzo standing at second, Tulowitzki at first. Cubs with back-to-back hits. Now looking to waste it here. A bouncer out into left field here. We're going to get a run in for Chicago. The first run of the game comes off the bat of Dexter Fowler, and now the Cubs have guys at the corners with a big threat here in a 1-0 ball game. Now Buster Posey 0 for 3, looking to break this one wide open. Tulowitzki at third, Fowler at first. He came around on a slide.